guys, welcome back to Empower In. I'm Caroline Porter Thomas. Thank you so much for watching. So I have a video request that I get a ton of emails about. It's a very interesting question, but it is this. Am I too old to become a nurse? What I find really interesting is that I get this question from people that are 22 years old, and I also get this question from people that are in their 60s. Since becoming a nurse, my concept of age has totally changed. In fact, let me just tell you a story. When I was a new nurse, I'd only been a nurse for about maybe a month or two off of orientation. As I was getting a report, I noticed the age of my patient was 103 years old. And let me just tell you, I was pretty furious. I was like, I've only been a nurse for a few months. Why are they giving me such a complicated patient? I'm really not ready to lose a patient yet. I've never had a patient die before. I literally thought that, 103 years old was just the absolute end. As I was going around to see my patients, I went into that patient's room and I was just I was so confused. I had no idea what was going on. I looked at the patient and all I could see was this little lady. She was all dressed up. She looked like she was in her 70s and I was like, I just must be in the wrong room. So I go out and I look at the door and I'm like, I'm in the right room. So she starts getting up, buzzing around. She has more energy than me. And she's like, I just got to get home. I've got so much to do. I'm like, what do you have to do? You're 103 years old. What do you have to do? Anyways, long story short, she was in amazing health. And this is not abnormal. I see a lot of patients. In fact, the oldest patient that I had was 117 years old. And if you want to know something funny, he was newly diagnosed with congestive heart failure. And his cardiologist told him that he needed to give up Popeyes or he was going to die. He basically told that doctor where to go, but it's just an amazing concept to think about that we could possibly live that old. Conversely, you will find many people that are very young and very unhealthy. In fact, I had a patient that was actually just barely 40 years old. I think he was 42 years old. And he had multiple complications, very bad diabetes, very bad, he was a dialysis patient. And he actually died. He didn't die on my shift or with me, but he did not make it. So when people ask me, am I too old to become a nurse? I've realized that age is just a number and your health and vitality and youth really is just so different with everybody. One thing that I do want to share is I have taken care of many, many, many patients in their 90s and even over 100 years old. And one common denominator that I have found is that many of them never expected to live as long as they did. In fact, I remember the very first time I had a patient say that to me. She was 96 years old and she just said to me, she was like, I never expected to live this long. And for me, as a nurse, and I consider myself pretty young, I was like, oh my gosh, imagine if I was like that person. And so what I've realized is that we must plan on a very long and healthy life because many of us will have that. And what I realized is if your life's going to get cut short anyways, you won't be here to know it. So plan on longevity. So I now have a phrase that I guide my life by, and it is this: life is too long not to go for what you want. So if you want to pursue nursing, then pursue it. Something that you may find interesting, when I was beginning Empower In and when I was beginning the YouTube channel and everything, I really thought that I would be speaking mainly to teenagers, and man was I wrong. So I'm going to actually share with you some of my statistics. YouTube actually collects all of this data for us, and I don't do any of it, but I love it and I love looking at it. Okay, so the age group from 18 to 24, 12% of my viewers. The age group 25 to 34 is 17% of my viewers. The age group from 35 to 44, 26% of my viewers. And the age group from 45 to 54 is 28% of my viewers. So if you are thinking about nursing at any age, obviously you are not alone. And let me share one more fact with you guys. Depending on where you go to school, half of the class literally could be over the age of 40 because many, many, many people go into nursing as a second career because they've always kind of wanted to be a nurse, or they got laid off in their current position, or for just a number of different reasons. So guys, to answer your question, are you too old to become a nurse? That's really a question that you have to ask, considering, your health, vitality, and whether or not you want to take on the challenge. But you know what? From what I've seen, an age doesn't matter. So if you have it in your heart that you want to be a nurse, just do it. Alright guys, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and post a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Alright, I love you. I can't wait to see you next time. Bye!